Backcourt press fans, what is going on? It is Hunter Metnick back with another YouTube video. I want to apologize. Last week, this weekend, I did not upload as much as I wanted to. I ended up having a super busy weekend. I was traveling a lot, dealing with a lot of schoolwork to start this week. So I have unfortunately not been able to do a lot of recording like I would have liked to, but we're back. We're finally back, and we're here today, and it's going to be awesome because the NBA season has started. We saw opening night's games between the Lakers and the Nuggets and then the Suns Warriors. And then last night we had 15 different games basically going on I'm just here to react to them. I want to talk about them, my initial thoughts, my overreactions to certain teams. And yeah, that's basically it. So I want to say thank you for staying subscribed, staying in touch with the Backcourt Press community. And without further ado, let's get into talking about these games. I'm going to be having the box scores of a bunch of games pulled up right on the screen here. I think it's the easiest way to do it and the most fun way to keep you guys engaged the whole time. First game, Nuggets-Lakers, first game of the season. LeBron had that minutes restriction. He only played 29 minutes, which I found very interesting. But other than that, I thought the Lakers played a solid first half. Especially looking at that second quarter, it looked like they were starting to build momentum back. They were starting to control the pacing of the game, all that good stuff. And then the second half, it was just a full Nikola Jokic show. I mean, basically a 30-point triple-double. KCP dropped 20 on them. Jamal Murray, 21 and 6. I love how a lot of people came out and said Jamal Murray is going to try and be an all-star this year. And we'll get all-star talks because of what he's done for them or what he did for them last postseason. He doesn't need to. He does not need to be an all-star to ever get the respect that he deserves. He's probably going to average right around here all year long at 20, 22, 23 points a game, 5 to 7 assists and like 3 rebounds maybe. And that's all this team really needs. What I was really impressed with the Denver Nuggets was their bench. Zeke Naji came in and played some solid minutes. Christian Brown came in and played great. Reggie Jackson getting a huge role now all of a sudden, playing really, really good basketball. They're going to really need these guys to step it up in the regular season if they're going to be a top 2 seed. But I really liked it, especially I could talk all day about Payne Watson. I really like him. For the Lakers side, this isn't a panic moment for the Lakers at all. Anthony Davis did not score in the second half. You cannot have that from your star player. But I'm not worried about the Lakers. I still think they're going to be a top 4 seed in the West. They still looked really good. D'Angelo Russell's still getting down that defense. But yeah, the Lakers will be just fine, and I'm very, very happy about how this game went. I thought it was a really good game to start. Next up, we have, if I can find it here, Suns Warriors. I once again thought this was a really good game. It was interesting watching Durant struggle. Very impressed with Jusuf Nurkic. That was the first thing I wanted to talk about. Very impressed with Jusuf Nurkic. His rebounding and playmaking was very impressive and really needed for the Phoenix Suns, and he was always engaged. Always engaged on pick and rolls. If he didn't get the ball, he's not crying about it. Really interesting fit around the superstars. I honestly am starting to believe that he might be a better fit for what they need than DeAndre Ayton, who we'll talk about later, who struggled in Portland. But Drew Eubanks, also one of the best pickups. His interior defense is huge for this team. Utah's going to get minutes because of his shooting. Eric Gordon got 32 minutes off the bench. That is an awesome sign because they're really going to need him, especially since Bradley Beal is out. But the player I really want to talk about the most is Josh Okogie. Next to these superstars, you never really know what your role is going to be. Josh Okogie dropped 17, 5, and 1 last night, or 2 nights ago. It was a fantastic game from him. He was playing good defense, hustling, running in transition, hitting his open shots. Very impressed with Josh Okogie. And then the last thing I'll say about Phoenix was very impressed with Devin Booker's playmaking. We have been wondering who's going to be the primary ball handler for this Phoenix Suns team. And it looks like, if Bradley Beal comes in and wants to score the ball, they can rely on Devin Booker to really be that, playmaker that they've been wanting. As for the Warriors, Andrew Wiggins needs to get involved a lot more. He needs to hit his shots a lot better and play a lot better defense. I was not impressed with Wiggins. I really wasn't that impressed with Klay Thompson either. He looked like shot chucking. He looked all over the place a lot of the time. Players I am happy about. One, Chris Paul. I'll say the biggest takeaway as a Warriors fan that I found from this game was that the Warriors were not losing the non-Steph Curry minutes. Last year, the Warriors continuously all season long lost the non-Steph Curry minutes. When Steph Curry was on the floor, they were bad. Chris Paul is showing that he will keep them in games. He will control the pace. He won't turn the ball over, play smart, and he can play alongside these other stars on this team. and I'm very impressed with Chris Paul getting the second most minutes this game too. Jonathan Kuminga is primed to continually average about 15 points a game, probably 6-7 rebounds. But Dario Saric off the bench was awesome. He rotated well, versatile defender, was good in isolation situations, good pick and roll roller. I was very impressed with Dario. I think he's going to have a big impact in the regular season. I don't see his postseason. I don't see him coming around a lot unless Draymond's out. Obviously we didn't have Draymond in this game, but Dario Saric was a great pickup, very underrated. I think he's going to have a very, very good year for the Warriors. So now let's go back and keep talking about these other games that happened. There was a lot of games. So a couple of them I'm going to skim through that I didn't watch as much, but some of them I will. Hornets Hawks, I didn't watch a lot of this game, but I mean, with LaMelo dropping 15 and them beating a team like the Hawks, who a lot of people have high expectations for, is a really, really good sign. I am happy that they brought Brandon Miller off the bench. That was a good. I like that. I like starting PJ Washington, still starting Gordon Hayward, who almost had a triple-double, by the way. Very underrated game. But for the Hawks, I mean, you got to play better. You cannot lose games like this. Like, if the Hawks are going to get off to the start, they always get off to a slow start, fire their coach, and get back on it. Quinn Snyder is not the coach that you want to fire. The only positive that I can say anything about for this Hawks team was Jalen Johnson off the bench, dropped 21, 7 and 2. He's literally looked like John Collins, just efficient, very athletic, really perfect player for that system. They're going to need to change, though. Something's got to change if they're going to win games. DeJounte, you cannot drop 11 points. It just can't happen, especially against a bad defensive team like the Hornets. Unexcusable. That's really all I have to say about that game. We'll move on now. Pacers Wizards. I think everyone knew the Pacers were going to win this game. I didn't think the Pacers were going to put up 143 points, but they did. Very good game for them. I think the Wizards are going to just be a bad defensive team, and that's why they're going to lose so many games, and they're probably going to get a top 3 pick in this draft because they're just not good defensively. They're going to score a 120 game. They're going to let up 143. For this Pacers team, though, I do have them making a playoff jump this year. I think they're going to be good. I'm really impressed with Bruce Brown, 27 minutes, 24 points. He looked aggressive offensively, at least for the first 3 quarters, and then obviously he was out. But very, very overall good game for the Pacers. I'd like to see Tyrese put up a little bit more than 20. I'd like to see him shoot a little bit more. But he's going to facilitate. He's going to get those 11, 12 assists a game. Andrew Nembhard got 10 assists off the bench. That is awesome. Yeah, Pacers are going to be good. Pacers are going to be good. This is not a fluke game just because of the fact that they played the Wizards. Let's go. Rockets Magic. I did not watch a lot of it, but I saw the box score, and I'm not impressed with the Rockets. Fred VanVleet and Dylan Brooks look like they did last year. Inefficient, which is not a good sign. It's really opposite. Not a good sign. Celtics Knicks, really good game. 2 really top teams in the Eastern Conference, in my opinion. Julius Randle obviously struggled from the field. We saw him only have 14 points. But there are some highlights to this. First off, we saw RJ Barrett be very effective with the ball in his hands, getting to that 24 points, leading the team. Emmanuel quickly, though, he is the perfect 6th man that every team in the NBA wants. He does a little bit of everything. He's one of those small guards, but can defend, can shift, can be a versatile defender if he needs to. Kind of a combo guard, can play on, off the ball. Really happy that Tibbs was giving him minutes over Dante DiVincenzo, who they just signed. Let Dante DiVincenzo be ready come playoff time. Let him settle into the offense, figure out the team. And I'm happy these guys who have been on the team are getting the minutes over him. And then for the Celtics, the only thing I'm worried about is 30 and 8 from Porzingis, but they don't have the depth. You look at outside of Al Horford. It's Sam Hauser, Peyton Pritchard, Luka Knight. This is a 9-man rotation on the first game of the year. You want to run a 10, 11 man, figure out who your core guys are for a bit. O'Shea Brissett not getting minutes was very interesting to me. Tatum playing 39 minutes in the first game. You don't need that, right? You don't need to win this first game. It's a lot of minutes. For even Tibbs didn't play a player that long, which is shocking because Tibbs plays this guy's 50 minutes a game. So I'd like to see the rotations be a little bit better with Joe Mazzulla. That's something I am a bit worried about if I am the Celtics. Moving on now. Cavaliers Nets. This was a great game, and I think the Nets are going to be awesome, and this shows why. Cam Thomas off the bench. They're finally letting Cam Thomas just play bench roles, come in, score when they need. It's exactly the it's exactly the role that he should play. Ben Simmons only finishing with 4 points, but was effective in every other statistic, which is huge. That's what you want. He was aggressive. He passed. He played good defense. He rebounded. You want him to be that versatile player that we know Ben Simmons to be, especially when he's on the court with, say, Cam Thomas, Spencer Dinwiddie, Mikal Claxton, or Cam Johnson, or even DFS. you don't want him to shoot the ball a lot, right? You don't need to see him be aggressive if Cam Thomas is going to come off the bench, drop 36. So seeing Ben Simmons be that facilitator guy for this team is going to be awesome. I want Ben Simmons to have the ball in his hands, be the decision maker. That's what I'm looking for as the Cavs. Mikal, he's probably going to average more than 20. It's all I'm going to say. As for the Cavs, everyone's going to talk about the Max Struss game. I agree he had a very, very good game, but I am way more happy if I'm a Cavs fan about Isaac Okoro. Put him 18, 4, and 6 next to Struss in the lineup. Obviously, Jarrett Allen did not play, but having Isaac Okoro have a game like this, having Max Struss rebound, but letting Isaac Okoro be that wing defender, be that Andre Iguodala kind of glue guy to this team is going to be huge this year. And especially if he's going to hit his threes, that's all you really want from a guy next to Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, and Evan Mobley. You want a guy who's just going to hit his shots when he's open, play hard defense on the wing, and be a smart player and not cost you the game. That's exactly what Isaac Okoro brought last night, and I hope he can finally take that jump because a lot of people have been looking at him like, oh, was he the right pick at 5? He hasn't performed as well as he could be. This is an exact game. This is why you took him, to be this kind of guy for that Cavs team. One thing I'm worried about, though, a little bit is Evan Mobley only getting 6 rebounds against Nick Claxton. Obviously, Claxton only got 7. They had really good rebounding off the bench, though. Like, if I go to the stats, I would have to guess. Yeah, the Nets completely out-rebounded them, 50-38. That can't happen if you're Evan Mobley. You need to be the dominating rebounder if you want to be a great player in the NBA. We'll go to, let's see here. Raptors Timberwolves, unfortunately, did not get to catch much of this game either. But Anthony Edwards with the 14 rebounds is awesome. You want to see him be that Dwayne Wade, one of the top rebounders, one of those athletic guards. But for the Raptors, I'm happy that they won this game. I haven't looked at the box score of this game even. So seeing Dennis Schroeder had 22 and 7. I mean, shit, that's better than what Fred VanVleet brought the Rockets today. So I'm not mad for $100 million less over 3 years. Great pickup in Dennis Schroeder. You're giving him the ball. You're letting him work. He also doesn't get in the way of Scotty. He doesn't not let Scotty do his thing. 17, 8, and 5 is about exactly what I think Scotty Barnes is going to average this year. I don't see him averaging any more in any of these categories than what he just did. So, yeah, this is an interesting team because they could be one of those, play-in teams that make some noise, but until they get a superstar, Scotty Barnes makes that big jump, I don't see the Raptors. This is honestly more of to me a loss from the Timberwolves than it is a win for the Toronto Raptors. This is the game I've been waiting to talk about all day because of this man right here. You can probably see him. Yep. Cade Cunningham is awesome. One of my favorite players. Obviously, he was injured last year. He played, I think, 15 games maybe, and then got injured last year. He is the Pistons franchise. He is the Pistons future. And they're building a fantastic team around him to where he is going to succeed because there's no one around him to take shots away, right? You look at the rest of the starting lineup, at least yesterday, right? Jaden Ivey should have a better game than 4, 3, and 2 for the rest of the season. I think this, he should never play worse than this, especially in 17 minutes. Killian Hayes is not a shot creator. Asar Thompson, not a shot creator. Isaiah Stewart, 14 points, sure. Jalen Duren got all of his points either in the post or from Cade. Once you put talent around Cade and another shot creator next to him, especially with his size and his playmaking, this Pistons team is going to be amazing. The Heat scare me on the other end. Seeing Kyle Lowry shoot 1 shot attempts in 32 minutes is a little weird. You normally don't see that. You don't like seeing Jimmy Butler only have, 19 and only 4 assists. That's kind of what I was looking for. I'd like to see him play make a little bit more. You can see no one on this team is really stepping up as the top playmaker. And that's what I was worried about when they lost Gabe Vincent was we saw Kyle Lowry coming off the bench a lot of last year, but when he would come in, he kind of push the pace, run out very fast, but not really not really dribbling to be effective, just kind of dribbling to dribble. They don't really have a true playmaker who's like, hey, get to your spot. I'm going to get you the ball. Let's do this pick and roll. It is more a team effort, but you always want that guy who's going to step up playmaking. And I hope that is Kyle Lowry and that's just an overreaction from the first game. But overall, good win for the Heat, even with the Pistons trying to come back in the fourth quarter. But my biggest takeaway is that Cade Cunningham, Asar Thompson, and Jalen Duren are the 3 guys that you are going to build the most around. Jaden Ivey's going to be a great piece. I think he's more of a bench role than he is anything else. But I really like what the Pistons are doing. I think they're moving in the right direction, personally. We'll go to Pelicans Grizzlies. Next, this game I was able to catch actually a lot of. I watched a lot of this game. My first, thoughts was Dyson Daniels looked really good out there in 19 minutes. He looked versatile. He could run in transition. We didn't see him get an assist, unfortunately, but he's one of those bigger guards that can play make. He's just not really in a role on this Pelicans team to play make. But overall, very solid game by the Pelicans. You saw their talent play as they should. I was happy that Kira Lewis got minutes. I see now that he didn't record a stat, but when I was actually watching the game, I was happy to see him getting minutes and playing well. CJ McCollum, 24 points. He's probably going to lead this team in scoring. If Zion, it's going to be between him and Zion. BI's kind of doing this all-around game where, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. He's a good post playmaker, good versatile defender. You're going to want BI to utilize those other strengths other than his scoring. Let Zion dominate the paint, let Jonas rebound the ball, and let CJ just be CJ, right? That's, to me, the recipe for success with this Pelicans team. As for the Grizzlies, we all knew that Desmond Bane was going to take that lead. But missing Steven Adams because Jaren Jackson Jr. just cannot rebound the ball was bad. Xavier Tillman's not every day going to drop 17, 12, and 4. It's not going to happen. Having Steven Adams out for the year is tough, and I think it really hurts them because of the fact that John Morant's going to miss 25 games. A lot of people, because of previous years, said the Memphis Grizzlies will be okay in those 25 games. After watching last night, sorry about the music, I'm worried. I'm worried if I'm a Grizzlies fan because of the fact that I think that I think that those 25 games without Ja, they don't really have a complete team. You just are missing something, and obviously it's Ja being out. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander will be in the running for the MVP this year. They will be a top 5 to 4 seed in the West, in my opinion. I know they played the Chicago Bulls, who aren't good, but this team all around just looked awesome. You have Giddey scoring. Isaiah Joe off the bench. I cannot believe the 76ers let him go, especially with where they're at now. 14 points off the bench. Looked great, shot great. I was impressed with Cason Wallace off the bench as well. I didn't expect him to get too many minutes tonight with the guard rotation, but he came right in and was effective with the ball. They really need some depth when it comes to the big man position. You're seeing down here that they're really lacking. I mean, Poku only got 2 minutes. They're really running a lot of just small ball, I guess, kind of play, which is interesting. I'm interested to see. Obviously, they're working Chet back in, only 25 minutes. I thought Chet played well, though, against Vucevic. If I'm the Bulls, you've been waiting for Patrick Williams to average more than this, and in 30 minutes, he's put up 8, 4, and 3. You're just not happy if you're a Bulls fan right now. You need to have, Patrick Williams take that jump or you sell, and there's no in between. And right now, Patrick Williams just did not look like he was going to make that jump for the Bulls, which sucks because I've been waiting for it. Kings Jazz, I didn't look too much into it. I think the Jazz are one of the worst teams in the NBA. The only pro I did see, is John Collins with an efficient enough game. That's big for them. But overall, I want Keontae George to start over Talen Horton-Tucker. I want to see George be great. I also really like Chris Dunn. That's really all I have to say for them. As for the Kings, Harrison Barnes putting up 33 points was not what I expected. But then when I saw it, I remembered that at the beginning of last year, I made an Instagram post on the Backcourt Press page saying players that are playing way too good for what they should be doing. Harrison Barnes was on that list after the first 2-3 weeks of the season. Every year, this man loves to start off doing stuff like this, and eventually it's going to fall off. Are the Kings going to still be good offensively? Yes, their defense worries me because people are figuring out how to score against them, especially how to score against Sabonis in the paint. And I am worried about that. I think that Davion Mitchell needs to get a lot more than 14 minutes in a game. We saw him against the Warriors in the preseason have a really big game, really good defense in the playoffs as well. We need to see Davion Mitchell have more than 14 minutes and be a defensive stopper in this offense or on the Kings. But other than that, I don't really have too much to say. Kings kind of look like the Kings normally do, really good offensively and not great defensively. Last 2 games, I have to sit here and talk about this one for a bit. Dallas versus San Antonio, I think I watched almost every single minute of this game. Luka was incredible, but the biggest takeaway for the Mavericks is Derek Lively is the exact center you've been looking for to put next to Luka. Athletic, will run in transition. Great lob finisher, and just overall really, really solid player for this Dallas Mavericks team. He fit in. If they wanted to run a little bit more small ball, they'll put Derek Jones Jr. and they'll put Maxi Kleber at the 5. But they were most effective when Derek Lively was on the ball controlling the paint. And I love it. Everyone wants to talk about Victor Wembanyama in his debut. Obviously, he had 5 fouls, so he was out for majority of the game, especially, in that late third, early fourth quarter when he picked up the 5th. He was out for a really long stretch, which was frustrating. But when he came in and the Spurs needed him in that fourth quarter, They were finally getting those isolation touches on the wing, and I loved it. I loved watching Vic go to work and just shoot over people. It's so unique. Um, the other things I want to say is I'm not happy with Jeremy Sohan running the one. I thought Trey Jones came in and played really well, and I think he is the perfect point guard to put next to a guy like Vic because of the pick and roll, his ability to score the mid range, kick it out to Devin Vassell, who is awesome. One of the cleanest, he looks like Paul George out there, one of the cleanest mid range shooters I've seen, especially for the Spurs team. As much as the Mavericks won that game, the Spurs can still be a playoff team. They have the talent this year. They have a combination of guys that fit really, really well around each other. And I think the Spurs can be a sneaky, sneaky playoff team, maybe a play-in team. But yeah, the West is so deep that it might be difficult. Last game I want to talk about, Clippers, Blazers. Blazers looked I mean, Malcolm Brogdon, we know what Malcolm Brogdon is going to do. He's one of the most efficient scorers. We should expect this on a given night all the time now. Rob Williams, I would like to see him to get more than 23 minutes, especially with Ayton, putting only 23 minutes in two. I would have liked to see them run a little bit more together, but obviously Ayton just played so bad. I mean, 12 rebounds, 4 points, that you're never going to win a game if technically your best player on your team is putting that up. Anthony Simons should be scoring more than 18 and having the ball in his hands a little bit more as well. Especially, I don't want Malcolm Brogdon to come in and take the ball away from Simons, right? You want Brogdon to come in and complement Simons, which we didn't see last night. On the other hand, if this Clippers team can stay healthy, the only thing I worry about is a little bit of their depth. But we saw Nicholas Batum only get like 9 minutes. He's going to be a huge factor for them come playoff time. Russ with 13 assists. He looked good. He was fast, high jumping, all that good stuff. Paul George said he's going to come out and dominate. I could see him averaging almost exactly this, except for a couple more rebounds. I could see him averaging 25 to 26 a game, 5 to 6 assists, and then like 3 to 5 rebounds a game. If Kawhi Leonard is playing 29 minutes, putting up 23, 6, and 5, and you're winning games, that's a good sign. And that's it. Those are all the games from last night. Obviously, tonight we have a couple fun games as well on the slate. But thank you guys for watching. I just wanted to talk about, my thoughts on the past couple of days of basketball, the first beginning of basketball. It's awesome. I'm excited. The season's going to be great. I'm going to be way more consistent with my posting now. So thank you, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.